Hi there. This is Barbara. I am the web developer for Get Wasted, and this is just a quick video to get you started on using your meal tracker. So the meal tracker is one of the really powerful features of the website that isn't even talked about that much, but it's a really useful tool to help you uh, obviously track what you have eaten, but it'll also kind of help you see um, how much fiber you've gotten so far, antioxidants, protein. It'll even divide your proteins into plant proteins versus animal proteins. It's pretty cool. So to get started, we start from the dashboard, and then we're going to click this button right here that says Meal Tracker. So when you first come here, you're always going to see the shortcuts here. So I'm going to go through these just sort of in order. So the most used items, hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. Things that you use all the time are going to show up here. And this is counted automatically. You can't edit this list. But yeah, so if you have like the same smoothie every morning, it'll show up here. In order to add any of these foods over here, so this half here is where you can actually enter in certain foods to eat. So we'll show you that in a second. But if you want to enter one of these over here, you're going to click that little plus button. And then it just shows up, and then you can click add. Now, if you want to add something in here that isn't one of your items, and we'll go through all these in a second, but if you want to add something over here, then you're just going to type it in. So by default, the ones at the top are going to be the recipes on this site. And then it'll also try to show you any items that are like just natural, whole, organic. So if you type in tomato, hopefully whole tomatoes will be near the top of that list as well. In this case, I typed in pasta, so there's no such thing as you know, a whole pasta. But so we've got the recipes here that have the word pasta in them, and then below that are all of the different types of pasta that you might find in a typical grocery store. So all of these values that are returned down here, those come from the USDA food database. So it's pretty robust. There's lots and lots of stuff in here. So most people report that there's too many results showing up, which I guess is a better problem to have than not enough. So make good use of that. All right, so that's this, and obviously this is going to always default to today's date. But if you like miss a day, you can set this back a day, and then you fill in any days that you missed, and all the foods down here will fill in accordingly. So next we'll look at the weekly menu. This also is automatically populated. You don't have to do anything to use this. So every week, Tess will publish some weekly menus, and you get those in your email. And then if you want to actually prepare one of those and eat them and then record that you ate it, you would just come over to the weekly menu section and click that little plus and then click add. So once you have a few foods in here, you're going to click save. And this is what actually saves it to your profile. So always remember to click save. If you don't, well, then it won't be saved. So custom foods. So there's going to be times that you want to eat something that is not in our USDA database. And so when that happens, we've got this custom food functionality for you. So there's two different ways that you can do it. You can do a food, which is like an ingredient. Think of this as just an ingredient. Like maybe it's a certain type of rice milk or a certain type of, whatever, a certain type of bean or whatever that you don't see in the database already. So this is just an ingredient. So first you're going to select the food group, and then the display text, this is mostly for you so that you can see it. It shows up right here. So figure out what you want that to say. The food type, this is hopefully, if you're following the plan, it'll be a plant product, but otherwise it'll be an animal product, or if it's a little bit of each, then it would be mixed. So the serving size is always going to be 1, unless it's like a half a teaspoon or something like that. But usually if it's like 1 piece of Wonder Bread. I mean, it's just you can usually put one, but you can kind of use your judgment there. The description is the unit of the serving size. So let's say it's 1 slice. And then the weight. Now this isn't going to be important. So I'm assuming that you're not going to have a little kitchen scale that you can weigh things. If you do, that's great. But most likely you're going to have to get this from the package that the food came in. So the weight is always listed up at the top, and it's shown in grams. So in fact, if we look here, we can do a quick so you can see right here, their serving size 66 grams. So it'll always be right up at the top there, and you can see that. Okay, so your early so you're gonna want to put that, whatever it was in grams, put that there, and that is really important, by the way. The nutrition data is kind of self-explanatory too, with the calcium, protein, fiber, fat, calories, and again, this is going to be a lot of this is going to be in your in the nutrition label. But a lot of times they list it in like a percentage, which is not very useful because we need to know the actual milligrams and grams of those nutrients, not just percentage. So if you scroll down, I have this handy little converter here that if it says this will give you 35% of your daily calcium, this is the result you want to type in above, 350. Like that. So that's just useful. So, but over here, so this is always going to be milligrams, grams, and calories. Okay. So that's how you create a custom food. Now, sometimes you're going to have a whole recipe that you want to make. And so, like for me, I've got like a smoothie that I have every morning or whatever. So that's going to be over here under custom foods or under custom recipes. So then to add a new recipe, we're going to click this. Now this takes us to a whole new screen, which is blue to help it kind of stand out a little bit. So this is going to work similar. But what we're going to do is we're going to type in the food that we want to have in our recipe. So let's say it's rice milk. And maybe I have some spinach. So you can kind of get the gist of it. You're going to want to give it a title. By default, when you click in here, it's going to just use the same title. But in order to make this easier on yourself, you can put extra notes in here because these are going to show up when you search for it. When you type up here under food in the main recipe area, these search keywords are what are being matched there. So if there's something else that you can type in here to make this easier for yourself to find, feel free to put that. Servings, also extremely important. So if you're making one smoothie, then just leave it at 1. But if you're making a pan of lasagna, you better change this to 6 or 8 or 9 or however many servings, because otherwise it's going to say that you just ate an entire pan of lasagna. So add to the favorites list. So this is to make it easy for you to find this recipe later. So you can just check that, and then in the future it'll show up over here under favorites. Public, you can ignore that. That only shows up on my view because I'm an admin. That's about it. And then you're going to click Save. And then if I go over here let's go back to the food tracker. If I go to Custom Foods, My Custom Recipes, I can see my test smoothie right here. So then I just click Add. All right. So it's already in my favorites because I had checked that box earlier, and that's what shows up right here, favorites. So I only have a couple things as favorites, but you can make as many things into favorites as you want. Recent items, this also is going to be compiled automatically for you. You can't really edit this list. This is just stuff that you have used recently. Pretty similar to most used, except it just goes according to time. So hopefully that'll make it easier for you to find what you're looking for. So the weekly menu and the custom foods are the two big and favorites. Well, actually all these, but these are the two big things that um, we added pretty recently that we're really proud of, and we're hoping that these are going to make it really easy for you to, to log in, track what you're eating every day, and get a good feel for the progress that you're making. So now that we've looked at the meal tracker, let's look at the history. So all of the foods that you enter in every day are going to be shown over here in the history. So by default, it's going to show the last 7 entries. You can expand that to be 30 days, 60 days, whatever. But it's going to give you a nice clean chart of your calories, fat, fiber, antioxidants, protein, and again, this is going to split it into plant and plant or animal. Other is usually only animal. And same here for calcium, plant or other. So that's pretty useful. And then down here at the very bottom are just the raw numbers that are being displayed above. So if you ever see something a little funky in the chart that doesn't quite make sense, or maybe you just want to find out what the actual number is that corresponds to it, just scroll all the way down and you'll see all the actual numbers down there. One thing I didn't show you is how to enter in your weight, and you do that right here. So just when you enter the foods that you ate that day, just type in your weight, and then you can also track your blood pressure if you want. And when you do that, those are going to be reflected in the history tab as well. Okay, that's it. I hope that this gets you kind of a head start into using this tool. And if you have questions, definitely check out the FAQ on the website. We've also got a little area in the dashboard that's got some tips and quick start things. If none of that helps, feel free to reach out to us in using the contact tab right here under Contact Us. All right, thanks very much.